Hey YouTube, Rook here from Rook Geek Goodness, my little channel on the interweb for all things geeky and cool. And today, guys, we have another action figure review we're taking a look at. We're looking at the DC Comics Multiverse series Zoom figure, which is part of the King Shark Collect and Connect wave. Of course, Zoom is prominent in the second season of the Flash TV series, which I don't want to make any spoilers about, so I'm not going to dig too deep into Zoom and his backstory and his history. What I am going to be digging into is the DC Comics Multiverse in general, the series as a whole. Now, just a little bit of backstory. Mattel actually creates this line of figures. They actually own the rights for the DC Comics Multiverse series that you see here. Now, years ago, they actually had something on a website they actually did, which was their store, which was called MattyCollector.com. MattyCollector.com ran a set of series of figures called the DC Universe Classic line. I talk about that in several of my other videos, DC Universe Classic, and especially He-Man and Masters of the Universe Classic series. That was part of a subscription-based model, meaning you would buy a series of figures every single month, a part of a year's worth of subscriptions. You'd be locked in every single month for 12 months. You buy a figure, it's about $25, $27 or so every single month for a particular figure. It was a pretty high marked up price point for an actual figure you could only get through the web, through online purchases only. It was not in retail stores. That was their model. Going forward, about a year or two ahead of time, they actually had issues with this particular model. Either they couldn't make their subscription numbers that they're looking for, or they had licensing problems with DC. Maybe a combination of both. I'm not 100% sure. But eventually they phased out the subscription model and went more into a retail big box store approach, which is what the Multiverse Universe stuff is all about, the multiverse stuff that you see here. They started doing this after they phased out the DC Universe Classic lines. So going forward, it looks like Mattel has done complete retail store distribution going forward. That's what I personally see here. Now, I actually got him on a toy hunt. I'll put a link above here so you can see where I actually found this guy. I thought it was an amazing looking figure. It looks awesome. It looks just like he does in the TV show. So what we're going to do is go into a breakdown segment. We're going to look at the packaging, we're going to look at the articulation, we're going to look at the paint, and conclude the video with final thoughts for you, the viewer. Should you buy Zoom from the DC Comics Multiverse series? Stay tuned, guys. We're going to go into breakdown. Okay, guys, we're in our breakdown segment looking at the Zoom figure from the DC Comics Multiverse series. Of course, Zoom has a predominant role on the Flash TV show. He is the second series big bad. So first thing we're going to do is look at the packaging. I really like this actual packaging. It's very, very squat, very, very squared packaging. Not a lot of wasted space. I do like that a lot. On the side here, we have a picture of Zoom, how he would look on the TV show. On this side, we actually have the Flash listed at the bottom here, and we have the DC Comics Multiverse little logo on the top. And on the back of the actual figure, we talk about the pieces that are used to build the King Shark figure here, the Collect and Connect, and all the figures that are available in this particular wave. Of course, at the very, very top, we have Jay Garrick, Flash, which was one of the main characters in the Flash TV show, as well as a predominant character in the DC universe. We have, of course, Zoom, who we're talking about. We have the Jim Gordon Batman, which is a newer type of Batman figure in one of the newer waves, newer lines, basically, of the continuity of Batman. We have the newer Batgirl figure. We have Hawkman, and we have a Joker figure. But this Joker figure, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, is from the Dark Knight Returns, which was the Frank Miller series of the Batman books. So all in all, it's a pretty good packaging. This guy has two pieces. I don't know if you can really see it in the packaging over here. He has the top portion of King Shark, and he has King Shark's waist, which we'll talk about that when we take him out of packaging. So I'm going to come back from a cut, and we're going to have this guy completely out of packaging. We're going to look at the paint, the articulation, and the accessories. Okay, guys, we have the Zoom figure out of packaging from the DC Comics Multiverse series wave featuring King Shark. Now, first thing about this figure is, to me, he looks awesome. He jumped right off the TV show into action figure form, and I love the way he looks. He's basically the black version of Flash as far as his uniform goes. He looks awesome. So let's actually look at the head sculpt and the paint first. He's in this black and silver deco. Those silver streaks go through the entire figure here all around, so I love the way he looks. Now, if we look at the head sculpt, it looks just like Zoom. Dead on the money. They actually hit this perfectly. When you look at this figure, you know it's Zoom from the TV show. Now, take into account these blue lightning effects. that is basically attached straight to his back. As you can see here, it's kind of pegged all the way in. It's very, very gummy, and I can see this over time because of wear and tear just falling apart. It's only really connecting right here, and I think Mattel took a bad direction in using this material. I don't think it was a good idea. So let's actually look at the articulation of the figure, and it's very, very strange. First thing is the head sculpt. The head itself, the head will go complete 360 and up and down. The shoulders will go out to a full T, as you can see here, and it will go 360, but there will be some hindrance with the lightning effect here. So you have to be careful of the lightning bolt. You have to move it around like I just did there. The elbow itself is really interesting because not only do you can bend the elbow here, almost 90 degrees I would say, but it's a complete rotation of the elbow as well. You can actually spin the entire elbow 360. So I like that a lot. As well as the wrist will spin 360 as well for both arms. Now, if we go down to the waist itself, it's a hinged waist. There's a big amount of rockers, a huge amount of articulation in the chest area. Now, this is where it gets a little bit weird. When we actually go down to the bottom of the figure, when you turn the waist itself, it has that very, very weird and awkward waist joint where it kind of looks weird when you turn it this way. It doesn't look like it's, we're looking at it head on, the waist breaks in a very awkward position. I've seen this with other figures I've talked about in length before. So if we put him back the way he is, and we go down to the leg portion of it, this is where it gets even weirder. He can kick his leg out like this, almost to a full 90 degree, or 45 degree here. I guess, yeah, it would be 45 degree angle. It's more like maybe 40. You can't get him all the way up because the way he has this cut near his butt and his back of his leg here does not allow the leg to go higher than this. This is about as far as you can get the leg to go. And there's a reason for that. I'll talk about that shortly. Move the arms up. He does have a single knee joint, and he has thigh rotation that you can spin the thigh completely 360 degrees. So I do like that amount of articulation as you see me spinning it here. There is no calf cut here. It's all one solid piece from here down, and there is a boot rocker as you see me rocking the leg here. This is where it gets very, very weird about Zoom. I've seen Mattel use this point of articulation before. You can get him into a split, or almost into a split like this. But this is where it gets weird because he has a joint here, which is why there's this round cut here near his butt, where you can actually fillet the legs wide open like this. And you can basically turn and swivel the legs. I don't know why they went with this sort of articulation. I'm not entirely sure what Mattel was thinking making this type of cut here. Maybe some type of riding a vehicle or something. I'm not sure why they went this particular road. I've seen it before years ago in the DC Universe Classic. They had this weird way of doing this type of articulation. I don't know why they actually do this. To me, it seems very, very awkward. It seems very, very weird. Now, let's actually look at his accessories here. He has a total of 4 accessories. Let's look at the collect and connect pieces first. We'll look at his waist first, which is the lower portion of King Shark. He has 2 points here that you would actually plug the legs into, as well as the top portion which you would plug his chest into. There's where the plug point would be at. Now his head sculpt is really, really good. I love the way this head sculpt looks. It looks very menacing. When you look at it, you know it's a shark, of course. He has the gills sculpted on both sides here. And there's a connect point here where you put his head on. But his mouth is articulated. You can open and close the actual mouth itself. And I do like this level of articulation. You can open and close it. I think it looks really, really good. Now as far as scale goes, I mean, he's pretty tall itself. If you look how big the figure is, the head itself is about almost the size of the entire figure. So I do think this is a really, really cool connect piece. Of course, you would need Zoom to get the pieces to build the King Shark figure. Now, let's actually look at the other pieces of accessories, which are these 2 lightning effects. These attach to each one of his arms, and it's that same gummy material that's made out of the back lightning effect here. And all you really do is you basically slide the lightning effect up his arm. That's all you really do, and it just kind of attaches in place. It doesn't even really clip really well from what I'm seeing here. It just basically hooks around his forearm. So you would see something like this. This is what I would see if I displayed this figure or do something along these lines here. So it would look something like this, where you just leave the lightning effect kind of just attached to his arm. Again, it doesn't clip in really tight. It's very loose. I know it looks like it's not all the, I'm assuming all the figures do the same thing, not just mine, based on what I'm seeing here. But again, it is that very gummy material. I have concerns about it where it would just fall apart and deteriorate. I don't think they pick the best material to use for these lightning effects, in my personal opinion. I do think it's a good buy all around, and you definitely need to get him to get these other two pieces for the Collection Connect for the King Shark figure. And with that being said, guys, let's go to final thoughts and wrap up this video. Okay guys, final thoughts on the Zoom figure from the DC Comics Multiverse series. I really like this figure. I thought they did a great job of transitioning a character from the actual TV show. Of course, Zoom was the big bad on the second series of Flash into an action figure form. He looks really well done. I think what they did is took the actual Flash figure itself, repainted it, retooled it a little bit to make Zoom. That's what he kind of looks like, at least in my opinion, and that's what I think they were going with. They probably saved a lot of money and to redesign this particular figure to make him for this wave of figures. He's a very long and lanky figure. He's not very burly. He's not big. He's not a big muscular guy. He has very thin limbs. That's what he actually is on the actual TV show. That's how he's represented in this particular wave of figures. Now, speaking of the wave of figures, if you want to build the King Shark figure, which of course is this guy right here, you'll need to pick up Zoom to actually build him. He does come with two pieces though, King Shark, as we talked about in the breakdown. He has the top portion and the waist. So you don't need a ton of figures to actually put this guy together. You only need 6 figures to build this particular Collect Connect figure, which is King Shark, because Zoom comes with 2 pieces. I would recommend getting this figure. I think he looks amazing. I love the lightning bolt effects, the blue lightning. I don't like how they're all rubbery and gummy. I do think that over time, over wear and tear, they may eventually just fall apart and break down. I don't like the material they're made out of, unfortunately. But that'd be my only real gripe on this figure. I definitely would say it's a buy in my opinion, and you definitely need to get Zoom to build King Shark. So I hope you like this actual review for the Zoom figure for the DC Comics Multiverse. Remember to click that like button. Always click subscribe at the bottom of the page. You can click Windows over here to watch more of my content. Take care, guys. I'll see you next video, and bye-bye.